Oh. Oh, okay. Well, so here we go. Back second part of this. I'm just going to get the basics, and then I'll like just take video or like video of like the document. Okay, so this obviously is sourced out of Florida. The way they choose to refer to this, like us, we, they, like I, you, I, that sort of thing, yours, mine, is very, very different than the way like people usually would do that language. What they're trying to get you to opt into or justify somehow in writing is like something that you didn't purchase. So they're trying to sit there and impose it on you. It's the same thing they do on these systems, the government phones, the MacBooks now. The iPad of a little bit of internet fame for a while is like that. Okay, so what else is here? So in Florida, which is obviously where I'm located, like relative to their time zone scheme on their networks, which is apparently, I mean, geographically, physically in Chicago and like living, like breathing here, but like at the same time. So apparently they associate me with Florida. So when they do that, okay, now that Florida apparently has someone responsible for so they own them in Chicago, and I'm pretty sure that's what that means. I assume that's what that surely must mean. What else? I'm just going to point out briefly here, right up to follow what is covered, different things. The way it's written, it's like the first part of it, the last part of T's document, which is his version versus their version. It's very different. This one, like, it actually, the formatting, just scanning it, it's basically the same thing. And this one's very, very different by the way they write it down. Even saying the same thing. Okay. Like language penalties all over it. Different things like links and whether or not you can do it. There's enough there. I will write it out eventually. USA versus US, like a us and we. The administrator, kind of like the IETF, RFC, or like kind of like thing that came on this week. On GitHub, another capture the flag war on GitHub with some people we know. Friends of mine, definitely. I think they're friends of ours. Administrator on, maybe it's just like option interface, this sort of thing has been going on. Shell script references come up, it comes up. What else? So this sort of thing, this is the good children's version of it. It's all really very difficult to read. It's like the bank records are intentionally like hard to read. You should not have to walk into that if you're unprepared or have never seen it before. It's just like a really screwed up way to read someone. So apparently someone was on that already. Dealt with them before anyway. Okay. What else is in this? Lemon policy. So there's that. There's references to Texas and Austin and different states' interpretations of different things. A few hints. Lemon policy. That's our pet cat Elon. Definitely is involved in this. We got Florida and pet cat. I know the two. It's about what I thought, and their kids and stuff. What else? Okay, they're going to do that. They have all sorts of screwed up ways of trying to justify it. So basically, they sit there and engineer. It's like like Elon Musk sitting there and sitting there predicting civil war. Either way, they win. Basically, I don't like the fact they engineer it. Either way, they win, which is not reasonable and definitely not what I actually paid money for to do this. But they're going to sit there and screw with me the same thing they did with my dad's reimbursement fund. They're like that. Okay, the links are like that. That's something. It's a little more. CCC, BBB, they go AAA on these machines because they're like that. It's about feeling like overdoing it. CCC is actually like the Chaos Computer Club. It's like a really famous hacker thing from the 80s. I think they're still in Germany. Anyway, most of them speak English is what I understood. So there's that. Pet cat thing, FAA, that's definitely one of these things. The symbol he gave after the election, definitely a reference to that. Damage caused by misuse. The way they use the language, they also don't use the word like assault or sex or something like that in the language. The way they use it, like you and the owner, or you versus we, sitting there saying you're not actually able to participate. I mean, part of this is strategic, right? Sitting there and saying because I opt into this, I'm somehow because I didn't open an envelope in their viewpoint. It's not how that happened. Somehow I'm into a binding agreement with them that I not only will not sue them for that much over this, but I can't actually participate in a class action lawsuit, which is basically total horseshit, especially after what's been going on. Okay, so there's more to it. It's basically the same document. Right? The character sets and the encoding is basically very different. This one's not that bad. This one's okay. Different states' interpretations of this about what you would expect. Like that. Bad as usual. definitely afforded language. Like even he, like AD, it's basically he can't like he has to insult, twist, warp everything else, but then he has to like throw in a few insults just to piss people off. Then the version codes, the different things. 2020 doesn't surprise me. 2019 doesn't surprise me. Similarly, as in Florida, it's kind of like a Geico plan. They've done this before. The schemes will eventually get written up that way, but so that's where that is. That's 4 pages. This is what I'm left with anyway. This is definitely not the original. You can tell by the way it looks. So that means. So this is T's version of this. Okay, there we go. So this one, by the way, the Real Devil's version of it is how I would choose to interpret that, is actually still in effect for the laptop. It's basically reasonable for what they did. This is why. This is T's version. Let me just go over it. It's basically the same thing. Do it very carefully with the notes before I turn the thing off. Go find somewhere else to live right now. Let's see. Okay, so it's basically the same thing. The formatting is a little bit different. They choose to like describe like the coverage of devices a little bit differently. You would think it's different. It's really not. It really just, the way they've written it down doesn't actually apply. If I bought a refurbished laptop, it usually should be fine because its Apple hardware is usually very good. If it breaks for one reason or another, they just replace it. The way they want to sit there and like make it into like a contract, like a binding, like sex slavery kind of thing is just, well, you know. This is what they have. This is why there's a spot. This is the 5th page. This is T's document. So not only do they say that, you're somehow binding into, like, I bought the laptop. They're just supposed to replace the hardware. It's basically to replace the hardware. It's not even about the software. You know, Apple doesn't support their software anyway. If they try to like get you to bind into in the language here is something I'm going to write up very carefully. I'm going to actually like take pictures of this and come back to it. It's really bad. Like they think they can just assert that they can do it, and somehow it's like legal. Like if you can do it, then do it. Like, you know, it's almost like they're trying to like somehow justify that you opted into it or otherwise. I really don't understand it. That's how I feel about that one. So one more time. This is a good version. This is whoever G's the one who dated it. This is not the original document. That's actually like a different page. Alright. That. That. Your notes. And let's see. Okay, that's different. And there's a little more to it. The way they do that, like you should not have to like walk into that like unprepared for it, like it's nothing. Walking into that for the first time without seeing it coming is definitely not something that's good. Okay, a little bit of attitude back at them as usual. A little bit actually. Right. And what else? These are the different like states' interpretations. Actually, I'm not surprised by some of that. Apparently, the Virginia version, I didn't know who was there. Apparently, that's Bezos. So Austin, Texas is definitely Pet Cat. Florida's Trump. Jeff Bezos is bad. Archie's in Washington. No, his wife is the reason why that's not that bad. Or, I mean, his ex-girlfriend, whatever that means. But got some notes for myself. Do it. Get up. Okay. This is T's version, just to make sure it's like all video so far, because they've been playing little games with me. I think I know who's that's obviously not Daddy and his kids, because they okay. Just saying. They do it too, but like not for the wrong reason, and only just once, and not in a really screwed up way, just to kind of like make the point. And there we go. The way no, they all. So I know who did it. It's not very, very, very unpleasant to deal with them in general. You know what I mean? As usual. Egregious, the way they write this stuff. No, it's basically the same document, a few minor details. The first part of it, the last part of it is basically something I'm going to do. Like, I'm obviously going to need a lawyer to deal with this. Maybe that's part of the point. You cannot deal with them without a lawyer. It's basically, they will kick and scream when you absolutely for getting a lawyer finally, but you know, like, that's the point, is when it gets to the point where you end up needing a lawyer and you can't deal with this without having a lawyer. It's kind of like you would think they would have enough experience to just, you know, like, know what's coming. No, they do not. Not those ones. Okay. That. Basically the same thing up until the last part of it, which is, yeah, well, one. The dates, are like, the version codes are a little bit different on each one, but they did that to my GEICO insurance policy, and it is another one of these things that kind of like the way they choose to assert it. There will be more online on GitHub. I'm not going to say soon. I'm not going to say that I'm going to be able to do it quickly because of this, but like eventually. Okay, so this one's bad. The way the language they use. Like, they think that, like, buying, like, a used MacBook and, like, you know, like, a replacement policy, if, like, a piece of the hardware breaks, that you're somehow, like, obligated to, like, accept this, and they just assert that it's there. So this is really their reaction to something like that. And then when they realize that I'm going to win anyway, one of their, you know, real lives, or like something like that, was this lawyer and told them that you can't get him off or something, but they finally just break the thing, which is what they should have done the first time. It's inconvenient, but it's fixable. Here we go. Pictures of this. The language here. This is really, this is the filthy stuff on the government phone and that iPad, and then what they did to my MacBook recently. This is what I'm actually going to sit there and like let him have it for. Obviously some people are out there guys aware that he's going to try this in particular. I'll do it. That's the point. Okay. Well,